Hi everyone, and welcome to Make Your Good Business Great. Today I am with Gary Loper. He's an excellent and amazing social media marketing guru, and that's why I've got him on the show today. He in particular is going to talk us through Twitter and engagement and building relationships with both our prospects and moving into them actually becoming future clients. So welcome, Gary.
Thanks, Kim. It's a pleasure. It's amazing with social media in the last couple of years that we can be able to connect around the world and find people that we're so much in sync with. And, it's just, just thinking about this 10 years ago, we would never been able to even fathom how many people are so similar to what we're going through. And, to be able to help us grow or be able to help through situations. So it's an amazing tool.
I know. We wouldn't be talking if it was 10 years ago.
No.
Skype was just new. We could talk for free. It was awesome. Now, Gary, tell us about your business and, some of the high points and, how you've learned and moved along.
Oh, it's amazing. Well, my entire life has been this weaving of all these other experiences, and they all just sort of mashed together. And that's kind of where we got started on Twitter. It was back in 2008. I attended a weekend workshop where I was, we heard Twitter for the first time. So the speaker said, "Hey, you got to check this out." So we checked it out, and it was a year and a half old. So we didn't know. Nobody really knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
So I just started putzing around. And then a couple months later in November, the position that I had as a massage therapist working with people with disabilities was eliminated. Yeah. So the funding disappeared. And so 90% of my income went away. About 90% of the emotional connection that I felt by going into these clients' homes and helping them and connecting with their family. I was in some of these homes 2 or 3 times a week. Yeah. So I got crushed. And so I landed on the couch for a while, just kind of in a funk. And so one of the ways that I worked myself up off the couch was that I remembered, since 1989, I started studying personal development, which grew into business development. And I had collected a lot of quotes. Yeah. So I went to my documents and I started looking at those quotes. And I started looking to be able to lift my own spirits up. And then I started sharing them on Twitter. Yeah. And in that sharing with Twitter, and that was the amazing thing, because that's, kind of the social media therapy aspect that I think gets underlooked, is that people were responding right away. They were asking questions. They were thanking me. I was doing little mini coaching sessions, in 140 characters or less through there. And so it was really amazing. And for me, that was a tap moment that said, okay, I went through, a coaching program 10 years earlier and hadn't done anything with it. So the tap was, okay, you're going to use your coaching. You can use all your marketing and sales and customer service experience, and you're going to be able to use Twitter as a coaching vehicle to be able to touch people's lives. And so we just, we got on and we just started growing. And, it was really, those first couple of years, it was really just an organic explosion. Yep. Because we just started connecting and finding people and making those connections. And it was, one thing was another amazing was I went to another workshop, and I'm not a outgoing networker. You go to networking events and, I'm not walking around the room meeting everybody. I wait for people to come to me. Yep. And I figured that attraction. Well, at this weekend event, probably 3/4 of the room came to me because they had seen me on social media. Really? And so, and I wasn't looking at, I found out later, a lot of those people were influencers, they were leaders, they were authors, there were a lot of other people of some stature. And oh, I'm tweeting with them. And it's like, and so that was a huge acceptance point for me. So it was this amazing. So, it's really changed my life. So now I have an ability to be able to do that. And, some of the messages that we use to be able to share and do things. And it's, just to be able to help narrow the story back a little bit, is I really believe that we share good information with people to be able to improve their lives, not necessarily promote us all the time, but to be able to be of service to other people. And I believe that becomes a magnet, that people who are attracted to us, people who are in sync with us, people who have the same kind of thought processes, they see what we're doing, they see us engaging, and then they want to be able to work with us, and they're reaching out.
Yeah.
So, it's really been an exciting time. And, it's another amazing story I felt a social responsibility I started doing Just for Today affirmations.
Yeah.
Hashtag Just for Today, hashtag affirmation. And these were just little tips that I wanted to be able to share, because I think, just by creating good habits and just reminding ourselves. So those messages go out all the time, and I know that they make a difference, because people are thanking me all the time.
Yeah.
But one time, it was a little more than 2 years ago, a girl wrote me and she said, "I can never thank you for what your tweets have done for me."
Yeah.
So I asked her, she said, "Write me and tell me." So she tells me that she's got a debilitating disease, and she was contemplating suicide until one of those messages, one of those Just for Today affirmations, showed up in her tweet stream, and she decided to be able to stay, to be able to do the best she can with her condition, and to be able to help others get through their transitions as well.
Wow.
So that was another thing. So it's like, everybody that you meet, they want to be able to impact other people's lives. They want to be able to help change the world.
Yeah.
And I really believe that we can do that a tweet at a time. And in doing that, we just build that reputation and that trust and rapport that people are going to want to take a step closer and see what we do and how we can be able to help them with their businesses or whatever services we have.
That's great. So can you talk to us about that? So say, when we haven't used Twitter before and we're looking at, generating some clients through expanding social media output that we're doing. What are your tips?
Oh, there's so many tips.
What's your process even when you're starting up with a new client,
Well, first off, we want to be able to find out what's your purpose.
Yep.
Why are you here? And that's going to be really important for a number of reasons. One, we're going to help fill up your profile with keywords that are search engine optimized, that people can be able to find you. Your profile, you only get 160 characters. So you don't want to use a lot of superfluous words like, "I like to work with people who do this."
Yeah, sure.
It's like, okay, Twitter expert, relationship coach, speaker, author, because that's what people are going to type into Google.
Yeah.
And you want to be able to come up in searches on what people are going to be looking for. So if you figure out what your purpose is, you can fill out your profile and people can be able to find it.
Great.
Plus, it also gives you a direction that, there's a lot of rabbit holes. The Twitterverse is just so immense. There's so many places that you can be able to go. Just like Facebook, I'm just going to go in for 10 minutes and you lose 2 days. But if you realize what your purpose is, and you're going to stay to your purpose, and then so you're work, you bring in information in. I'm a Twitter expert. I'm a relationship coach, a mindset coach, and so those things and those related things is what I'm going to tweet about. I'm not going to tweet a lot about a lot of other things. I can watch some of those other conversations, but the idea is that confused minds don't buy, and people are looking for experts. So, if you're looking for a massage therapist, and I worked with a guy who I had this conversation with, he's a massage therapist, but he was also a landscaper. and you wanted to be able to talk about both in one.
Yep.
And that's confusing for a lot of people.
Yep.
I can build a bridge between them. I can see the art in both of them, but most people aren't going to see that on a right away. So it helps you be able to narrow your focus. What are you going to talk about, and stay there.
Yep.
How
do you fit it all into that 140 characters?
Well, you have to be able to think about grabbing attention.
Yep.
It's really about grabbing attention. And it's when people see a tweet, when people see an email headline, or they see a title or anything else, they have two thoughts that come into their mind.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me more, or so what?
Yeah.
And most people get 95% of the stuff through your email is so what, right?
Yeah.
So you want to be able to write that, again, like we talked about, what are people going to be searching for?
Yeah.
Because people are online, they're looking for them. They don't care about you. They don't care about your business. They don't care about you got a new blog or a new summit or whatever else. They want to be able to know that they want to be able to find a solution to their challenge. So if you write it the way that, the grocery stores, I'm sure, worldwide, it's probably going to be the same thing. You go to the grocery store and those magazines are there, the Star, the Inquirer, everything else. So how do they get you to pick up those magazines? Those short, sexy titles.
That's perhaps even a really good tip, is to look at news headlines.
Yeah. Get the guy, lose the guy, gain the weight, do this recipe, everything else. Because you're picked that up because you're going to say, oh, I want to know about a cruise. I want to know that recipe. I want that summer body, whatever it is. And that's how you need to be able to look at what your tweets are, especially the ones that you're going to be inviting people to go to your blog or, to go to your website. It's all about them. Now here's another advanced tip for people, again, to be able to expand your reach.
Yep.
Most of the times when we write an article, we fall in love with the title. But a lot of people, and that may just relate to just a short people, amount of people.
Yep.
But there's probably 5 or 6 brilliant points within everybody's blogs that's going to answer somebody else's questions.
Yeah.
So go through your articles and write 5 or 6 different tweets that are going to appeal to 5 or 6 different questions that are being asked that you can be able to provide answers to.
For that one blog.
Yeah. And that helps too, because Twitter doesn't like you retweeting the exact same tweet within 24 hours.
Right.
So if you write multiple tweets, you stay out of Twitter jail.
Oh dear. Yep.
Yeah, so it's amazing, and there's a lot of things. This is a short course. My ebook, and the ebook has got a lot of these things. But another huge thing is a good point to remember on what to tweet is think about these 4 elements for essential tweeting. The tweet should be entertaining. And that's subjective, so you're going to have to be able to learn what your audience is going to want to learn about and what they're going to respond to, because your sense of humor may not carry over to the people that you Yep. And so you need to be able to do that. So music, cat videos, TV shows, whatever it is, you got to be able to find out, again, within your purpose and what your people are going to respond to. So they need to be entertaining.
Yep.
You also want to be educational.
Mm-hmm. So
help them learn something. And so question it always came up with, then I can be able to put an article about how my juice cures your concus of the buncus. Well, no, it's educational, not promotional. So if you're in a health-related field like that,
mm-hmm.
give us a third-party thing. John Hopkins, Mayo Clinic, some other expert who who is in alignment with what you're doing. So you put that out there. So any entertaining, education, enhancing their lives. That's why I put the motivational messages out there. That's the just for today affirmations. I'm going to give people a little motivational bath. And then kind of my motivation was that it was a famous Zig Ziglar quote. They say that motivation doesn't last, but rather it is bathing. That's why you need both every day. So you can come to my tweet stream and you're going to get your motivational bath each and every day. And that fourth E is engagement. And this is another mistake that a lot of people make in the beginning is when they get on and say, okay, well, I'm going to get on and I'm going to start asking questions.
Yeah.
And the people will respond, nope, ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
You haven't built the trust and rapport. People are waiting to be able to see how you're watching, what you're doing, how you're talking. So all of those little mini coaching sessions that I did, other people were watching that to be able to, with an expectation, okay, if I reach out to them, I have an expectation of what they're going to say and how they're going to treat me.
Right.
So you need to be able to reach out to other people, talk to other people, thank them for retweeting, make a comment on their stuff, retweet their blogs, make a comment on it. So to get engagement, you first have to give engagement.
Yeah.
So if you combined any four of those, you can even use multiple elements of those four E's in your tweets, you should be in a good place to get started.
That's really cool. So if we're just starting out and, it's an odd little platform when you're first starting out until you really get used to, how people talk, because it's a very different language. How can we choose adequate hashtags?
To start out with, and a hashtag for people who don't know is the # in front of a word or a series of words, and that is a separate search classification. So what I tell people when you start out is using hashtags and finding those conversations that you want to have is go look for the bigger conversations. So if you're in marketing, go look for marketing or business, leadership. Go look for those big conversations. Go find the leaders in those niches, the authors, the speakers, people who have a lot of following, people who get a lot of, their followers to interact with them, and go see what hashtags they're using in conversations that they're having.
Yeah.
And it's, kind of like, it's a group. Those hashtags can actually be another group within themselves, within the Twitterverse.
Yeah.
Is you can go into those hashtags and have conversations, use those tweets, and people can find you. You'll be found by taking part of that conversation. And so I just tell people, because they want to be able to get unique right away and be able to use their own hashtag, and that's why I used it just for today. Hashtag affirmation, 2 separate hashtags in that.
Yeah.
Is affirmation is the bigger conversation.
Yeah.
The just for today is my unique twist on it, that these are just daily reminders that we just need to do today.
Yeah.
So that's my little niche and my little hook. But I wanted to have that other bigger conversation where people are looking at affirmations and they can find me.
And you're in that feed as well.
Yep.
And then as far as the amount of times you post, what do you suggest there, Gary?
Well, a lot of people
Tweet,
will
not post. What am I saying? Tweet.
Well, tweet, post, it's good. It's, again, a lot of new people will push back at this, so don't be shocked. If you're on for business,
yeah,
and if you're not tweeting at least 20 times a day,
yeah,
you're invisible.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to find you.
Yeah.
Now, so people will say, well, what am I going to tweet about 20 times a day? Remember earlier we said it's not about you. So, of those 20 tweets, 7 to 10 of them should be retweets.
Of other people's tweets.
Other people's tweets. Go find those. Go find those niche leaders, those authors, somebody else. Go retweet somebody else's stuff, because that's going to show your audience who you're connected to and who you're learning from.
Yeah.
So it's kind of every tweet's an audition. So it's like, hey, I'm connected to Bob Berg. I'm connected to Gage. I'm connected to this. I like Deepak. I like this.
Yeah.
And so people are going to see that, because people are looking for bridges. Okay, how are we going to be similar? Why am I going to want to do that? Because I want to be able to know what you're doing. So 7 to 10 retweets a day. You want to do 3 to 5 articles. So you want to be able to go and to be able to get that. Use some of those content curation sites like Scoop It or Reddit, and go find articles that relate to your niche and what you want to be able to do, and start posting those. Mm-hmm. And that helps you become known as that content curator, that people are going to come looking for you because they know that you're going to be able to provide them that good information. Mm-hmm. You also want to be able to provide a number of the engagements that we talked about.
Yeah. 3
to 5 engagements per day. Even simple thank yous or comments, just like we talked about. Do that. And then after you get 2,000 tweets and 2,000 followers, then 20% of your tweets can then be promotional. Invitations to your blog using those formulas that we talked about earlier. Yeah. But like you talked about, and that's why I mentioned that 2,000 tweets, 2,000 followers, because it does take you a time to be able to get your thoughts down to 120 characters.
Yes.
And be able to learn a language and find out what your people are going to respond to. And also, we said it's an audition. People are watching you. The 40% of the users on Twitter are kind of voyeurs. It's like when you're, if you're doing a presentation, half the audience has their head down, they're taking notes, they're getting everything. But as a speaker, you're not getting anything back from them. You're just seeing the top of their head. But they're getting it all. And you also, you don't want to be able to ignore them, because those are the people who are going to be able to refer you to other people as well. So all the connections are good.
Yeah, it's terrific. And so as you get your 2,000 followers, your 2,000 tweets, obviously you're going to get better and better in tweeting. Yeah. But, one of the biggest things is really to be building relationships that are solid so that you can transfer them into clients, isn't it?
Yes.
And you've got some great tips on that, I'm sure.
Well, yeah. And it's kind of a simple formula. I think that a lot of people have had experience with it. It's, you want to be able to build relationships. So if you think about, when you're dating and your first date. So if you tried to close the deal on the first date, you may have some fun, but the probability of a long-term relationship is small. But relationships that develop over time, 3, 5, 10, 20 dates, whatever it is, where there's a natural deal closing conclusion, excuse me, that, then they're there for the long term. They're engaged with you, they're invested with you. Mm-hmm. So I looked at, you kind of look at it as, it's a seduction rather than a molestation. And, there's a few people who prefer the latter one, but I think majority of people would rather be seduced. And just think about that as, all of your relationships, whether they're personal or business, which ones make you feel good? The ones that take time and that they're there. Our mechanic, Carol, just went and baked a batch of cookies for them because, you know, they're honest guys. They've done things. They've gone out of their ways. They're, you know, and it's just an amazing thing. So they've gone above and beyond.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's what you want to be able to do. But, you know, it's taken us, you know, a while to be able to find those relationships. But when you get them, it's like anything else. Then you want to foster them. Then you want to be able to stay in connection with them. Again, just like your relationships. When you got that connection, then you want to be able to see them every day, right? That's what you want to be able to build.
Yeah, that's terrific. And then when you move them along, how do you get them out of Twitter and transfer them into clients?
Well, this is my my ROI theory. It's reach out and invite.
Yeah.
So, you know, what a number of people have done for me, for example, is they'll retweet a bunch of my stuff.
Yeah.
We'll have conversations. Hey, I like what you're doing. I like your messages. Da, 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 da. Hey, you know, can we meet on Skype?
Yeah.
And it gets as simple as that. Is get there, get connected, and especially if it's an influencer, somebody with a large following and a reputation, you know, it may take a little while to be able to get their attention.
Yeah.
You know, there's a friend of mine who regularly gets Tony Robbins to personally engage with him. You know, Tony doesn't personally engage with too many people, but he's gotten Tony to be able to do it because he gets persistent. I've been able to make those connections, and he's not doing it in a obtrusive way.
Yeah.
Kind of stalking. It's just, you know, you just keep putting it out there, and I think it's as simple as that. Is find people that are doing what you want to be able to do, who've accomplished what you want to be able to accomplish, who might be able to help you. But you want to be able to think about that when you reach out to people like that, is don't think about on what they can do for you. Go with a mindset about what you can do for them.
Right. And
so if you do that, people are going to be more apt to answer. You know, I've had people come up to me and, you know, through Twitter and say, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? And I say, well, your ask is too big.
Yep.
ASK, your ask is too big because you're asking for the wedding.
Yes.
And we haven't dated. So that's another thing about collaborations and anything else is just dating. You start out small. So you reach across the table and you get that first contact, right? Just a little hand holding or something. Yeah. And then it continually builds. So it's not, you know, it's a formula we've all used. We just have to be able to look at how we use it in marketing and special social media.
That's right. That's right. I think too many of us have the sale as the ultimate rather than, you know, the step-by-step journey along the way that leads to the sale. Well, the client marriage.
One of the people that I've worked with is Bob Berg. And he co-authored a book with John David Mann called The Go-Giver. And it's an incredible book about how to be able to shift your process from giving to getting.
Oh, darn. You're back with me now.
There we're back. Okay. So with Bob's book, The Go-Giver, it's an incredible journey on how you can be able to shift your focus from getting to giving. And knowing, you know, and there's this 5 stratospheric laws of success. And like the law of compensation is that your compensation is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them.
Yeah.
So if you focus on how many people can I serve, how can I serve more people, you know, another Ziegler quote, you'll get anything in the world that you want if you help other people first get what they want.
Yeah.
And if you, again, use those philosophies online, the same way that you would do in real life.
Those books are actually on your website as well.
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah, we work good.
Check those books out.
Check them out. Yeah, and it's an incredible book, and it's a short book, and it took me a long time to read because it just really touched me in a lot of ways, because it's like, okay, this is what I had always been thinking about. This is the way I always envisioned my life to be, and how I think business should be.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful actually that you mentioned that, Gary, because there are some books that touch us so deeply that, you read them a dozen times because that's the message for you.
Oh yeah, well,
And
yeah, that's
of that, what is the best business book that you've read? I mean, obviously that one's a highlight for you.
it is. But the absolute best one was actually a book that wasn't published till 75 years after.
Yeah.
It was the follow-up to Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
And he wrote a book as a follow-up because part of his task that Carnegie asked him to do is say, okay, here's these introductions to 500 most successful people in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But I also want you to go talk to 20,000 failures.
Right.
So he wrote this book. It's called Outwitting the Devil. And it's written in a way that he's having the conversation with the devil on how we can avoid all of those failures.
Right.
But the family wouldn't do it because, excuse me, his wife had worked for a Presbyterian college. The family was worried about the association with the devil and all of these other things. And you can be able to determine whether it's a real devil or if it's a metaphor. It's a metaphor for me, and realizing, okay, so these are all the wrong paths that we can go on. These are all the things we go. And that book, I'm listening to it again when I go for walks.
Yeah.
I've got it on, and I'm a big student in repetitive listening.
Yep.
All of the books that I read, any new courses that I'm taking, I'm listening to everything at least 7 to 10 times.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you pick up different things each time, don't you? And I'm a huge fan of Audible. I love listening to books now. I've only been doing it for 6 months, but it's changed my life actually. I love it.
It does, and you'll see over time that those things now become part of your DNA.
Yeah.
Your thoughts are going to go through there, and you have to be careful in the beginning because, when I did a lot of this with Bob Berg, I would do Bob Berg's imitation of Zig Ziglar, and you have to be able to look at it as you want to adapt what you're hearing, not adopt it.
Yep.
And when you can be able to listen for it, and you just get through, and it just becomes in part of natural conversation, and you're not struggling looking for words or phrases or to complete your thought.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect. And tell us, Gary, who's your guru?
I've learned from everybody in every single situation. It's one of the things. Again, this is another Napoleon Hill. We've referenced him a lot because I just learned so much from everybody that he's learned from. But I believe that there's a seed of good within every experience.
Yeah.
So horrible fights with a wife. I know deep down, as much as it hurts right then, there's something that's good that can come out of this.
Yeah.
Whatever political, whatever world situation that goes on there, it may appear to be horrific on some aspect, but I believe that the universe works in a way that we need to be able to have this contrast.
Yeah.
We don't move closer to what we believe is good until we see that bad.
Yeah, yeah.
So then we can be able to look at it. So I've just looked at my entire life. I've read so much. I probably have over 40,000 hours in studying personal development. So Gladwell's, 10,000 hours. I've got that.
Yeah.
I got that one niched, but it's just every single thing. I'm just a student of life and just looking at it. I'll watch Lifetime movies and be able to pull stuff out of it. And it's so, it's just an amazing thing.
It's terrific, and it's terrific to be able to look at life and then get your own learning from everywhere, not just in the classroom or
yeah, and
it's traditionally going to come from.
Yep. And our political season was a great education. It was a great education last year.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Gary, for being with us today. You've been a wealth of knowledge for the Twitterverse.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I always love talking to Twitter. So anybody I can be able to help out, and sure, you've got a link to the gift that we're going to be able to provide is a free call.
Correct.
And I just want to let people know that don't dismiss a free call. It's somebody who's giving your time, and if you can get one idea by investing 30 minutes to be able to chat with somebody, and you get one idea that can shift your life, can shift your business, is that worth the investment? So
absolutely. And I can say for myself, in a short phone call that I had with Gary before this interview, he totally shifted my perspective on Twitter, relationships, and how to connect with people on a personal level to bring them into your life. So definitely grab a call with Gary.
Oh, thank you very much. Look forward to helping everybody, and happy tweeting.
Thank you. Thanks, Gary. We'll see you all tomorrow on Make Your Good Business Great. See ya.